So the plan that we have in place for today is we'll talk about various cloud options, and towards the end we'll see a demo. As mentioned by the moderator, you can send in your questions in between the sessions. As we have a limited time and we have an audience of varied experience, I would prefer looking at the questions towards the end of the session and try my best to answer all of the questions that come in this particular forum. The first point I think we need to discuss out here is why do we need to go ahead for storing our information, storing our data onto the cloud. There are few important factors that really decide when, how, and why should I go ahead and look out for a storage which is available to me on the cloud. The first very important aspect is on the scalability. Today, many enterprises host data onto their enterprise data warehouses. For medium and small enterprises, the scalability becomes the issue. Investment in hardware, investment in maintenance is what is key that one will have to look ahead when we want to maintain data on premise. Now that's a very important thing, that when we go to the cloud, we get a
sorry for intervening.
We get a scalability.
Your voice is breaking in between. Can you please check?
Okay. Is it better now?
Yeah, it seems much better now. Please go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. So I was referring to scalability. When we talk about cloud storage, scalability is a prime factor in moving our data onto the cloud, because when we look at this point, we actually get a on-demand scalability. We can scale up, we can scale down depending on the load and the data that our application is going to experience. So on-demand scalability is a very key thing, is a key factor to move or to decide on the storage strategies. The second important point is the availability that we get when we go to cloud. I don't say we don't have high availability on our enterprises on premises, but when we go to cloud storages, the availability factor, the SLA that a vendor cloud provider wants to give is very high as compared to what SLA we may want to maintain on-premise applications. So scalability, high availability are the factors that we achieve when you go for cloud storages. Third and important point is about pay for what you use. This is a concept that comes from utility computing, where we need to pay for what we use. From a data perspective, we need to pay only for how much data we store. It is not like a traditional option where we get, say, 10 terabytes of space and we pay for the entire space irrespective of how much we use. But here, various cloud providers in competition will charge you only for how much data you store on their data centers. Towards the end of the session, we are going to have a look on how is the metering and the pricing model given by Microsoft on the data that you store in Azure. Then comes on priority, as per my perspective, is manageability of your data stores. On-premise will have to have special security infrastructure. You'll have to have manpower to maintain it, whereas when it goes to cloud, we do not have to depute that effort in managing your storage. On this front, I would like to also highlight another point about provisioning. When you talk about creating a new data store, or you want to modify the existing data store, the manageability becomes a key factor through the resources that a cloud vendor will provide to you. When we talk about Windows Azure, you will have a management portal through which you can provision your servers on the fly and then start using the servers in the next couple of minutes without having any major setup required for you to do. I'm going to demonstrate that as well. How do you go ahead and create a storage account, or how do you go ahead and start using a storage account on your cloud? Then comes the option where you go ahead and you want to access your data in multiple ways. Today there are applications which are running on premises which will use some client libraries which are there provided by various vendors. You may want to use REST. So when you move your data to the cloud, you'll have to think over how your existing applications which were using some client libraries, or maybe which were using the REST APIs, how are they going to go ahead and migrate your applications on the cloud using the existing application setup. Many times we also access our data which is on our file system through standard NTFS APIs. Windows Azure will provide you all these three options. When we talk about having something like SQL Server on the cloud, you can use your standard libraries to access SQL Server on the cloud. You can store images, videos. For that, you can again use client libraries provided by Azure, or you can even go ahead and use REST. So this is what we are going to look ahead in this particular seminar, and along with that, the demos that we are going to